2 weeks to Christmas, and with all of the things on your to-do list, one thing that's definitely not on my to-do list is wrangling some small calves. That is part of Stuart Lange's Christmas celebration. Reverend Dr. Stuart Lange from the New Zealand Christian Network. Stuart, kia ora, good morning.
Oh, kia ora.
To add to the chaos of our pre-Christmas build-up, you've got some calves that you've been almost wrestling with this morning, trying to get them in order for your church's Christmas celebration.
Oh, no wrestling. Just they're off a cow, and so I need to get them suckling. It's for our Christmas drive-through, a big public outreach. A lot of churches do that.
Yeah.
Thousands come through at our one Christmas drive-through and walk-through. Massey Presbyterian, open 7:30 to 9:30 Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And
wow.
It's just lovely to churches can have this. So I look after all the various animals. We have about 14 animals to organise.
I mean, hey, it is delightful and good to have the nativity story at the heart of your Christmas celebrations, especially as you engage with the community. But
it takes about 80 people a night from our church to run the show. Yeah,
and live animals. That's
live animals, just enactment. And different churches do different things, but. Hey, Christmas outreach is a great opportunity.
It is a fantastic way of being able to do that. But I suppose for people that are listening to this as well who are Christian, I mean, it's important to communicate faith to our communities. But for us in our individual families and households, how can we have more Jesus in our Christmas celebration? How can we, as a faith community, have more Christ in Christmas?
Well, some Christians in the past, and still some now, they boycott Christmas because they think it's not Christian enough. But of course, most of us have succumbed to that and say, well, let's just make it as Christian as we can.
Yeah.
So here's some suggestions. Just keep the message of Jesus front and foremost. Mm-hmm. Think and talk about it. What is that message? Explain it. Various scriptures. Christ was in the world, reconciling the world to himself. God so loved the world that he sent his son into the world. Why? To what effect? The word became flesh and dwelt among us. For to you this day, good news of great joy, for you to is born a Saviour, Christ the Lord. What does that mean? Saving us from what? Saving us to what? Have those discussions. And then there's the togetherness of Christmas, functions with family and friends. And it's great to invite others in who don't have that sort of network around them. So hospitality and keep that, real Christian quality to it. Mm. Some families have real doozies of Christmas things, great family scraps and tensions, often, cranked up by the booze. It can be a real problem. And I just suggest some things we don't get carried away with. Don't get carried away with the food. Mm-hmm. The Bible's not that complimentary about gluttony. And it's a big burden to people and too expensive. Yeah. Don't get carried away with gifts. Yeah. That's not the message of Christmas. Don't make them central. Don't make them too expensive. Or do away with them. That's really liberating. Yeah. Don't get carried away with drinking. Things can go wrong. Consider downplaying or dispensing with Santa. Santa's not the message. Yeah. There's the tenuous links, not with the Bible, but with St. Nicholas, the 4th century, but most of that's legendary. Yeah. But then, the modern myth of Father Christmas and elves and factory at the North Pole and all that, it's essentially a post-industrial revolution modern myth, carefully fabricated to cause a big spending spree once a year and to help manufacturers and retailers. So maybe drop it or downplay it and certainly tell your kids, look, this is not the real deal. It's just a tradition if you do it, right? Mm. And go to church. Go to church wherever you are. I really get a bit ticked off with people who say, no, we're just going to gather together as a family. I think it's great to go to church. Churches have night services. They have Christmas Day services. God's not on holiday. The gospel's still alive. Yeah. We're Christians. Christians are together. So if at all possible, if you're on a boat 50 k's out, you may not be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
But if you can, go to church and support the Christmas outreaches. So there's some kind of thoughts about keeping our Christian Christmas as Christian as we possibly can.
Some really good thoughts on that one, and I love your idea of saying, you know what, actually we can make it more Christian, not just by what we add, by what we leave out, by what we downplay, that we don't necessarily need all the trappings and the trimmings and the tinsel. In fact, less is more in that regard. And hey, I do hope that you manage to organise all these animals and this festive celebration for you and your church. And Stuart, just wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much for the work that you do at New Zealand Christian Network. Really appreciate the contributions that you've given to this show over the year, and I do hope that you have a restful and enjoyable Christmas celebration with family. Thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. A pleasure. Yeah. Kia ora to all, everyone. God bless.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.